One of the most common issues I run into when I buy these radios to convert into Panabox is when the package arrives, I'll open the radio up and I'll notice there's a white powder on either end of the battery terminal. Now, the battery terminal is where the battery touches, so it gives the unit power. And oftentimes, if batteries have been left in too long, you'll notice a white corroded powder on the terminal. And I'll have to clean those off. And it's pretty simple to do, and I'll show you how to do it. But in some cases, I've actually seen the battery acid has actually eaten through the wire and the unit is no longer able to work. So I have to replace that wire, and I'll tell you about that as well. Now, the other issue that can happen is you'll notice a brown, rusty color on these terminals, and that's because moisture has somehow gotten in there and it's starting to eat away at these terminals. So you'll either have to clean these or you're going to have to replace them, and I'm going to show you both. To get to these battery terminals, you're going to have to take the unit apart, and I do have a video at whitelightparanormal.com that shows you how to take these apart. You're going to want to remove the circuit board, and once that circuit board is gone, it'll expose the 3 terminals. And I say 3 because there's one wire that makes up 2 terminals, and there's 2 individual spring wires that make up the other 2. So once you've got these out, I'd recommend taking a close look at inside the case, because there could still be white corrosion powder in there. And if there is, I would recommend using a Q-tip and dipping it in CLR. Now, this is CLR. You can get this at any hardware store. It's the green liquid in this glass bowl. Make sure to wear gloves because it can burn your fingers. But if you take a Q-tip and you dip it in this green liquid, you can clean out that corrosion quite well. Now, once you've got these springs out and this wire out, and I'll show you how to do that, I'll show you how to take them out and put them back in. You just want to drop them in the green liquid for a while and just let it do its magic, and it'll clean them right up. And as I say, make sure you wear gloves, and when you pull them out, make sure that you wash them under water and dry them thoroughly. You don't want any wet CLR to go back into this unit when you reinstall it, because if you put the circuit board back and you've got CLR in there, it could destroy that circuit board. There's one wire that forms 2 terminals on this side, and then there's 2 separate terminals on this side. Now, to take out these terminals, simply just get a screwdriver, and there's a little notch, and you just want to pry it out, and there it is. It just pops right out. Now, to put that back in, it's pretty simple. It takes a little bit more time. What you got to keep in mind is there's a little loop right here, and that goes over this peg right here. And this part of the wire right here slips into that little slot right there. So let's just do that. Let's just put it in place. Now, it's a little bit finicky because these are very small parts, but see, I've slipped this in its little pocket, and now I'm just going to push that down over its little post. Push the wire down. Now, you'd think you're done, but you're not, because the next thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get this wire underneath that little clip at the end of the screwdriver here. See that little angled clip? That will hold it in place. Otherwise, it's just going to bounce up and down. I can move that wire up and down. Everything will kind of move. So to do that, I'll just zoom in a bit, is with a little screwdriver, you're going to push down and just slide that clip underneath. And when you do it, you're gonna see right there, it's now sitting under and it's holding everything in place. I've got this in its little pocket. I've got this in on its little peg, and I've got this wire now underneath that clip. This is now in place. Do the same thing to this side. I've already done it. So this is ready to go. So on this side, there are 2 terminals as well, one here and one here. But this is a continuous wire. And you'll see there's a little wall here and a little wall here. I'll just spin it around. And you'll see that this wire hooks on that wall right here and right here. So to pull off this wire, if you want to clean it or replace it, just use a screwdriver and just pry that off the wall. That just popped free. Pry it off the wall on this side, pops free. And you can basically just pull it out at this point. Just grab an end of it. It's stuck under, there we go. And there it is. To replace or to reinstall the wire, what I like to do is hook it around one wall and make sure the vertical part of the wire is in its channel, and then hold it in place, work it around those 4 nubs, and then hook the other end over its wall and then push down. All right, I've just finished installing this wire. You'll notice that it's running up this wall in its channel, and it's seated in that little notch. It's grabbing, the hook part of the wire is grabbing on the other side of the wall. I've fed the wire between all these little nubs. Now, what's really interesting, if you've never done this before, is it's a little finicky process to try and do this. It's a little bit frustrating too. You've got to do it a few times before you get it. But when you get it, you'll know. Now, the way they've designed this is you kind of have to play with this wire and bend it just slightly to get it around one of these nubs. But once you do, everything just snaps in place, and you'll know. Everything will be really tight. You can kind of pull on it and push it, and it's not going to come loose. If you don't do it right, this thing will just fall out. So you'll definitely know. So if you ever need any of these battery terminal parts or other parts for your DR60 or your Panabox, please let me know, because if I have extra parts, I'd be very happy to send them to you. If I don't, you can always try and look for one of these radios. They're probably about $50 or so by the time you get it shipped, and you can pull lots of parts off for either device. Anyway, I hope you learned something, and good luck.